Hey everyone, this is Chase from InsurGrid, coming to you live with another InsurGrid Agent Spotlight. Today I am joined by Dennis Kaiser of Kaiser Insurance Agency up in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle. Dennis, how are you doing?
Good. Good morning. Thanks, Chase, for having me.
Awesome, Dennis. Well, you've been in the insurance industry for quite some time. Please, tell everyone a little bit more about your agency.
Our agency is a legacy agency. We purchased it back in 2017 from a 40-year vet, but prior to that, I've spent the last 20 years in the insurance business, more on the insurance, the life and investment side. But needless to say, I've been around it since 1997.
Awesome. So yeah, back in 2017 is when you purchased the Allstate book of business.
Yeah, and it's a 1,700 household, 3,700 policy. So I guess you call it a mid-size.
Awesome. So Dennis, tell us a little bit more about some of the challenges that you were facing, some of maybe the obstacles in your agency that brought you to drew you to InsurGrid and piqued your interest, and how you've been using InsurGrid today.
Sure. So the thing about InsurGrid that I found attractive is so often, when and if you get the opportunity to prospect somebody new, obviously there's a trust building that takes place, and the quickest way to blow your integrity and trust is to have misinformation. And honestly, I think consumers, without trying, give you the most of the misinformation, because quite frankly, once they have the insurance policy, other than the price, they don't seem to really pay attention to what they actually have in terms of coverages. So if you go off a telephone conversation, recording all the information they give you, and then you come up with a quote and you're $100 more every 6 months, then you find out later you included personal injury protection or something that they thought they had but they didn't have it. Well, that's going to be the difference in your cost. So it's nice to know that you can have something that you don't have to awkwardly tell the customer, hey, you're no good at being good, great at giving the information accurately because you're not an insurance agent. No one wants to say that to somebody. So it's like, hey, I've got this great tool that'll ensure that I get the most accurate information from your current carrier, so that we can give you absolutely the most accurate and fair comparison of what we have to offer. And that's how I use it. I tell other agents all the time, you guys are crazy if you're not using it, but I'm a detail guy. I'm big picture, but details are really important in this business because we all know that's what gets you in trouble is if you don't have the right details. So that's what I like about it.
And how have you been implementing it into your sales process today? Is this for when referrals come in, or are you sending it out to leads? What are the different channels that you're using with your InsurGrid link? Because I hear all the time agents saying, well, I don't know how to use this. I need to think about how I'm going to implement this in my business. And it seems like it's been easy for you to implement.
Yeah, so I had little cards made up there, like, just labels that I could put on the back of my car that just said, the app InsurGrid / Kaiser Agency. And I did that. I also have it on my website on goodhandsbeatsmayhem.com. It's quick, click here for a quick quote. And when you click on it, it takes you right to the same, your site with, my agency information and my logo. Um, and then also I have QR codes. So I actually have one QR code that this month we were testing on one print advertiser that's a monthly publication to a household that actually is a QR code for our website, and then they can go to the quick quote link. And then we also have a QR code that goes just directly to App InsurGrid Kaiser Agency um, to see if there's an issue, like which one they'll trust more. We have a feeling they'll want to go to Good Hands. It just gives a little bit more credibility before they click the button to go to someplace that is totally foreign to them and different. But as that becomes a more accepted thing, which obviously with more and more agents using it, then there's a greater likelihood to become more, the secondhand people are used to using those types of features. Just like when Google started, no one went to Google until it became a thing, and then everybody now it's Google it, right? They don't even use another word for it. So, perhaps you would become the Google it of application detail orientation for the industry. So, but that's how we're trying to incorporate it. I tell people all the time, we have a QR code or we have the app link just on our website. And honestly, when someone calls in and says, I'd like to get a quote, I do take the risk every time of saying, hey, can I get you to do me and you both a favor? Can you go to my website? Here it is. I rattle off to them and wait till they're on it. Say, can you click the quick quote button? It's asking for your name, your phone number, and your address, or name, phone number, and email. Hit next. It wants your driver's license and date of birth. hit next. Now you see a big screen with all these different carriers. Click on your current carrier. I probably should have asked you, you have a user ID and password for that carrier, right? They say yes, great. Click on that. Now you're about to authorize them sending all of your current policy documents to me. As long as that's okay, click that button and I'll have everything to give you the most accurate depiction of what we can offer you. That's how I use it.
And how, and that, walking them through on the phone, that you found success with that?
I think so, and it also it builds credibility instantaneously because you're basically saying, yeah, I want your business, but only if it's correct, opposed to just telling what they want to hear, which I think that in all sales businesses, which ultimately this is, there really are two types of people: people who take the orders and people that sell something. But inside that group of people that sell something, there are those that still do the what do they want to hear to say yes, versus this business, which has a lot more um, moving parts as far as level of integrity that you're required to uphold to make sure that omission's not an excuse, right? So you have to have the right information to do your job properly and to avoid you know pitfalls or problems in the future.
Yeah. That's awesome. So your process, when someone calls in, you take them to your InsurGrid page, you walk them through the information that they need to put in, and then you say, hey, this is going to pull your information so I can have an accurate quote, so I can, provide the best service to you. And that's really interesting.
Now, the other thing I like about that too, though, Chase, it's absolutely self-beneficial, is then when they see how easy it is, when I come back to them later and say, one of the best ways for us to grow our business and take care of our best customers is to have other customers just like you. And I'd like you to think about just how easy that process was to get me the information that I needed, and you got it to me in like less than 5 minutes. So when you're mentioning to other people, hey, you should call my insurance agent, he just saved me 30, 40, 50%, whatever it is that we did for you, you can say, no, it's not a big deal. You just go on this website, you just punch a couple pieces of information, and he gets everything he needs, and it has it back to you like in a half hour to an hour. That's what I think it does even more, is it makes the referral process that much stronger and that much easier for the customer. They don't have to be convinced; they already did it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, using your InsurGrid link to streamline the referral process.
Right. You got it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I love hearing these different use cases and how you're using it just within your agency. On the time savings part, like, can you quantify the time savings for your agency, like on a per policy basis? Is that something that you kind of measure?
Well, I think I would measure it in terms of phone calls, right? So, like I got an email this morning via the web that said, "Hey, I'm looking for a quote on my condo. I've lived here since this year. I didn't have insurance before that. Never had a walls in policy, but not any of the details I needed, right? So, other than 2007 is how long she's owned the joint. So, and it didn't even have an address, right, for the location. So I sent her a note back saying, "Hey, I'm going to need quite a few more details to provide you an accurate quote. Could you, call me?" And then when she calls me, I'm going to say, "Can you just go, if you want to do it on the web, just go to my website here, and I'll send her an email if I don't hear from her in the next hour or so, um, so that she can do the same thing." Because she obviously wants to do it online. She wants to do it via technology. It was almost like she didn't even want to be contacted, so via the phone or something. So that's another reason why this is such a much better resource, in my opinion, because otherwise you have to call 4 or 5 times if people are just giving you little bits of nuggets, but not the whole picture.
Right.
And this totally saves on doing that. So, yeah,
Yeah. Saving both you and the client time.
yeah, or my agent that's in the office that's making the call back and forth, back and forth, back and forth while the phone's ringing with one of our 1,700 other households that needs something for service. So it
Sure.
definitely saves time.
Awesome. Dennis, any other parting words for agents who might be watching this that are on the fence about if they want to use a product like InsurGrid?
I would say simply, call me if you're not sure. Obviously Chase is biased. I'm a little biased because it works great for me, but I do pay for it each month. And I guess that's probably the other thing too is, you're not asking people to sign a contract. You're giving the opportunity to take advantage of it, and pay a monthly fee. And if they don't like it, they can cancel it. So I'm not sure why not try.
Yeah. Awesome. Dennis, well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for jumping on InsurGrid Agent Spotlight and for, advocating for our, not only our product, but the technology, because the technology is, benefiting everyone in this space.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely.